And welcome back to the second episode in our epic New Zealand motorhome trip. Now in this episode...
I don't think we quite appreciated how bad it was. So we're going to hire a spade.
And in places it's getting pretty dodgy. And she didn't go home for a week.
Clear left, and we were seeing landslides going that way.
But what a beach.
We left you in the last episode eating some lovely food in an airport lounge, catching a flight to Frankfurt, where we ate more food in the airport lounge. We caught a plane to Singapore. We then caught another plane to Auckland, flying over Australia. We stayed in a hotel before picking up 2 motorhomes and setting off to the north-east of Auckland to the Coromandel area. So we're heading to a pre-booked site on the west of the Coromandel at Coromandel town itself. Now it's a long weekend coming up in New Zealand. It's Waitangi Day, which is to celebrate the first signing of New Zealand's founding document, the Treaty of Waitangi, where the Maoris agreed others could live in their country. And Stu and his brother Roger gradually get used to driving the 2 motorhomes. However, we start to see landslides that have been a result of the bad weather that they've been having lately. And in places, it's getting pretty dodgy. And it adds to a bit of anxiety for us all driving in a new country that we are yet to get to know, in new vehicles that we're still getting used to. But there's nothing like a bit of adventure.
So as we carry on driving up the west side of the Coromandel, effectively, we're sort of seeing signs, aren't we, of landslides. I don't think we quite appreciated how bad it was, I'll be honest with you. We were seeing landslips which were going over roads and all that there. But as we start to get into the Coromandel, we start to see more and more of landslides. We realise how bad it's been and that. We get into a place called Thames, I think it was, a town called Thames, where we wanted to get some shopping anyway. So we stop at a supermarket, we have a shop round, get to the checkouts, and the girl confirmed what we thought. We were not going to be able to drive north where we were anticipating going.
Yeah, basically she'd come to work and she didn't go home for a week. She had no clothes. What I hadn't appreciated how few roads there were really, so if one's down there's not too many options to get into where you want to go.
You can't just drive round, can you?
Yeah, so I hadn't appreciated that, even though I know the country quite well. She just had to stay at someone's house, borrow their clothes and just keep going to work and just write off going home for a week.
So we'd had a decision to make at that point, that was because this is our first night, don't forget, so we've landed, we're tired, we had obviously the whole episode the night before of me wandering around the hotel at the wrong time of day as well. I think we got a bit of jet lag anyway, and our first campsite, which we planned, Roger planned, and that we can't get to. So we made a decision then to actually phone up the second nights and see if we could stop there for 2 nights. Fortunately, they could take us, but that was going backtracking a bit, and that was another 3-hour drive round, and the weather as we drove got worse and worse, became very misty, rain was lashing down, and we were seeing landslides going that way. Nothing that stopped us, but it certainly slowed the journey down. that took us probably a good 3 hours. So we were fairly tired, I would say, by the time we were
definitely.
In fact, when we got to the site, we were lucky actually because they were just packing up, if you remember. I don't know if you remember when we pulled up, they were just packing the site up, the people who were there in the offices and that.
Yeah.
So we managed to just catch them, which I'm glad we did because we knew exactly what to do at that point. And we'd sort of then got 2 sites, electric hookup sites. I think it's about 60 New Zealand dollars per night, so that was about £30. So that was per van. So that's quite expensive. It was one of these top 10 sites owned by. So I'd say this is at the top end of the sites and that, but it didn't bother us because we needed a few days just to get ourselves awareness to the vans, the bearings of the van, you know. And that wasn't just Caroline and Roger. We needed to understand how the van worked and just get into the rhythm of van life in New Zealand, really. So the site had it was quite a large site because it had. There was chalets and lodges as well as motorhome pitches as well. So it was one of these larger sites, and there was facilities for the kids. But it had usual facilities. It had good showers. It had a kitchen area, waste disposal, and all the things that you'd expected to have. But it was definitely, and it was right close to the beach, which was quite within walking distance to the beach.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually a good start to the night.
Good morning. So you can see we've actually woken up at Hot Water Beach campsite. So we're right up in the Coromandel. Was the first place. We had a bit of a drive, as you saw yesterday, due to some real bad weather they've had in the region, unusual bad weather. We're actually here for 2 days, which actually worked out quite well because it's allowed us to chill out and orientate ourselves. It's still proposed to be showery today, but I think the weather's getting better. It was a really muggy night last night, so despite having all the windows open and all that, it was really hot in the van. The van's good. The van's turned out to be okay. We've drive and get used to the drive in the auto. We've got the auto box on there. Doesn't quite pull like Harry does, but it's a bigger wagon. But it's well decked out, and we'll give you a bit of a van tour at some stage during the trip. We're actually going down onto the beach today to have a look at the hot water springs that naturally come through the beach, apparently, and you can dig pools. So we're going to hire a spade and go and do that down on the beach today, and then we're going to also probably drive to another beach that's well known in the area to visit. We'll just take one of the vans. We'll take my brother's van and leave ours here.
If you like our videos, please click that like and subscribe button, as it really helps the channel out. It costs nothing, but YouTube recognises us more. And whilst it's overcast and raining, we set off for Hot Beach, which is a must-do destination on the North Island, and it's more tropical than we ever expected. And I hope that we don't have to follow this, as we've had enough excitement so far. The tide is just going out, and we can see in the distance the famous Hot Water Beach, and is a popular geothermal location. And we've rented a spade for the occasion from the campsite.
You have to take your bush out because it burns. It's burning.
Oh, I'm pretty good with heat then. Yeah? Oh, it's hot. Oh yeah. Okay.
And we soon experienced the weird sensation of the cold sea, with your feet buried, and the extreme heat, which if left, it feels like it could actually burn you in some places. Now, it's natural hot springs that come up from deep underground and filter to the surface, because it's on the sands and the ocean covers it. So you have this coming together of natural events of the cooler sea waters and this hot water from underground. And with the weather closing in, we walk back to the motorhomes.
Right.
And we decide to go off on another prime location that Roger's chosen in his pre-planning. and we start to establish best practice motorhome driving etiquette.
Clear left, clear left.
We head off in one vehicle, which is the beauty of travelling in two vans, as we can always leave one all set up at the site. And we head to a small town called Haka, which is just a short drive from the campsite. And we park on the front overlooking stunning rock formations at sea and the Motorhome Island, or Goat Island as it's also known as. And we decide that we haven't eaten for at least an hour. And so we have our first experience of some New Zealand contemporary food, although some locals keep a close eye for any leftovers. And then we catch a free shuttle bus, driven, believe it or not, by a guy from Wolverhampton who's moved over here, which is actually 30 minutes from where our house is in the UK. And there's a scenic walk along the headland, and we start to experience being in the landscape.
So we've just come for a great walk to a place called Cathedral Cove. There's several coves here. This cove here is the last of 3 or 4 coves of that. Beautiful walk, but what a beach to come. So if you're ever this way, got to be on your list, this one has. It's easy walking, and as much as it's a tarmac path all the way basically, it's a bit up and down in places, but it's relatively easy walking. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes, I'd say, to get here and 34 minutes back. There's a shuttle bus up and back down to the local town if you didn't want to do the steep hill from the town or the village that's there. But definitely worth coming.
And the beach were film locations for a scene in the Prince Caspian film, which was part of the Chronicles of Narnia films.
So tomorrow we're moving south, so we've had 2 days here, which has got us orientated to the van. Probably the worst of the weather's over. We understand they've had a pretty bad summer really up to now. but it's going to be better weather from this point onwards, we think. So we just got to get off the Coromandel. There's still got some places where there's been flooding, so I'm pretty sure we'll probably be okay tomorrow. They generally clear them during the day, and then we'll head south. We're going to do a free camp, freedom camp, what they call out here, tomorrow night. So we'll find there's several places. There's a couple of apps that you can use. We're using the Rankers one that's quite good. We're finding very informative, so we're going to take off a couple of sites off there and try that before we move up to what's called Hicks Bay on the Northern Island.
So we'll leave it there, and despite the poor weather we experienced, we recognise the locals have had it really bad here recently. However, we are starting to see the raw beauty that New Zealand has to offer, and it's one that we're starting to fall in love with, along with settling into a different van life for us all.
And coming up in the next episode, the sun makes a welcome appearance. We find a great park up for the evening, before heading off to Hicks Bay, situated on the east coast of North Island and faces out to the Pacific Ocean.